Hi, I want to show you a way that you can not only increase your results, but if you're stuck in life, it's a way of getting out of that, or if you're in a situation that you can't stand, it's a way of changing that. So, I'm going to start with this very simple example of this. I flew down to Melbourne recently and we had a pre booked rental car, my wife, myself, and a friend. And when we walked up to the rental office, there was a queue going all the way around the block and only two people inside on the counter. And I asked somebody how long they'd been in the queue, and this incredible queue that went on forever. And they said that we estimated it was going to be a two and a half hour wait before we got served. So all these people have been sitting in this queue, some for 1 hour, 2 hours, just grumbling, looking miserable, looking unhappy. So instantly, what happened in my brain was like, you got to be kidding. I've never seen this before. Is this for real? And all of that happened in a few seconds. And then I went, I don't want to do this because we'd arrived late in the afternoon. And I estimated that now, if we got our car, we are going to be in peak hour traffic. And within a few seconds, I went, right, okay, call the rental agency, call reservations, cancel it. And there was two other car rentals right next door. And basically, we'd cancelled the reservation and we got a new car within 10 minutes and we were out of there. So the real question is, why were all those people standing in the queue? Why were they in a situation that they were clearly unhappy about? So as I walked towards my car to the back end of the queue, I told everybody, I said, you've got at least another 2.5 hours before you're going to get your car. And I said, we just cancelled the car. And you could see the looks of bewilderment on their face, like you cancelled it, and then like, what should I do? And maybe I should. So what's happening here is what happens to a lot of people is they stay stuck in the problem and they don't jump to solution. They start looking at the problem. And what you want to do is we want to train our brain to immediately go to solution as quick as we can. Problem? Right. Okay, I don't like this, or this is not helpful. What is the solution? Immediately. Okay. Now, at the end of this, I'm going to give you some great tips on specifically how to do this, a very, really clear way of doing this. But I want to show you the flip side of this, where this doesn't work at all. So the other day, I'm driving on the Brisbane freeway, and someone in their infinite wisdom had decided to close down the freeway for roadworks during morning peak hour traffic. So what was just over a 1 hour drive for me where I was going now turned into 3.5 hours. So I'm driving along, 110 kilometres an hour, all of a sudden dead stop. Everything, trucks, no one's moving. 3 lanes of traffic, nothing. So, first thing that happens is I start tightening my fingers on the steering wheel. Have you ever done this? And then I start looking around for an escape hatch. There is no escape hatch. And I can start to feel my mood tighten up. And then I just went, there's nothing you can do. Just let go. So I use that as practice. Now, I got to tell you, I am not perfect at this. I used to be a lot, it was much more reactive. And it's like, there's got to be a way out of this. Sometimes in life, there's no way out. Yeah, I couldn't do a U-turn. I couldn't go home. Yeah, so I just decided to just relax my body, and it's called surrender. Just surrendering into the moment. It's when there is no solution, but there is a solution. It's called surrendering. So they're the two polar opposites of what I'm talking about. You've got to, in your life, what I notice about really, really successful people is they just go to solution really quickly. They don't always go to surrender though, because there's no good running around and just stamping your feet, and you're just burning energy and you're just stressing yourself out, and that takes away the ability to think clearly. So you just do the old, what they say, goose for rubber, yeah? as Jack Nicholson said in that crazy movie. All right. Okay, now some very specific techniques of how to ask certain questions in relationship to your life and your business. These are called directed questions. These are like the question that I asked, with the car rental. That's not really so much a directed question. It's a pretty obvious solution. Cancel it, get a new car from a different car agency, right? Oh, by the way, the two car agencies, there were three car agencies. The one that had the queue around the corner. The other two car agencies were empty, in clear sight of everybody, but no one seemed to jump to the solution. That's pretty quick. But a directed question is a little bit different. It's where you ask it, where you don't actually know the answer, and you ask it of your subconscious mind. So, for example, if you're in business, you could say, how could I double my income? Or how could I increase my profits? How could I work less? And you ask the question and you don't try and come up with a rational answer. You just let it sit around there. I had a situation, this is many, many years ago. This is when I was at a time when I was running all around doing seminars, and my whole business model at that time was doing live seminars. And I had, to cut a very long story short, I had a knee operation. It was an ACL reconstruction, but it went horribly haywire. So it's okay now. But I had a rare condition that basically turned off all the muscles to my leg. It's called a reflex sympathetic dystrophy. There's a mouthful for you. And it remained undiagnosed. No one could figure it out. So I literally lost the ability to walk. My brain didn't know how to do this, to walk. So I had a cane for ages. And so I was like this for, my leg just shriveled up to about like that big. It was just like nothing. There was no muscles there. Just everything had shut down. So I couldn't do seminars. I couldn't go on the road. So I just, rather than panicking, I was like, so there's no income. I went, okay, how can I actually asked an insane question, a directed question. I said, how can I actually make more money sitting on the couch at home? And I just kept on asking the question for about a week, not trying to come up with and all of a sudden the answer just dropped in. And that's when I started a program, this is a long time ago, when a lot of this stuff wasn't done and a lot of people weren't actually working from home at the time. I started a program that was a inner circle program that basically allowed me to take phone calls, have group discussions, a whole bunch of stuff. And I ended up making more money with less time without having to travel. And then when I got better, I actually liked doing seminars. I got back on the road again, but I still kept that business model as well. So it's very, very powerful, a directed question. But the problem is most people get stuck in their head trying to come up with a rational idea. Subconscious mind is very powerful if you just let it. Sometimes you just get the answer in your sleep. So try that, have fun with that, and I'll see you on the next video.